More individuals have kicked the bucket for the sake of God, whatever name that might be, than practically all different causes joined. Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, non-believer, Scientologist. Regardless of the stripe, a surefire approach to get everyone frantic is to criticize another's religion or scarcity in that department. It's straightforward, truly. Religion or otherworldliness maybe, is presumably the most strongly close to home piece of anybody's being, and that incorporates the individuals who dismiss religion and otherworldliness by and large. Likewise, religion is a family issue. At the point when somebody feels his religion is enduring an onslaught, that assault quickly gets individual and familial. One push prompts a counter push and the nuclear blast goes off. To exacerbate the situation, a few religions have as a vital section an order to convert. Likewise, a few people, not from a feeling of order, yet of want, will need to convert. At the point when that occurs, your seriously close to home experience slams into someone else's strongly close to home understanding, and the outcome is an ideal tempest of firestorm. Advancement or creation. The books that have been composed regarding this matter for either position could presumably fill an unobtrusive library. Each side has reams of information and boatloads of realities to back up its position, and each side entirely thinks the opposite side's information and realities are so much fertilizer. The most exceedingly awful part is, once more, no center ground. On the off chance that one attempts to receive a place that fuses the two sides, each side will tear the person in question to shreds. At the point when the beginnings of man come up, the gloves fall off. Of the considerable number of subjects on this rundown, legislative issues is the one that appears to have demonstrated the latest increment in enmity, however not on list verse thing 6 takes the cake there. In the US we have the Republicans and Democrats, and in numerous different nations, for example, the UK and the vast majority of the Commonwealth, there is a comparable variety of factional ideological groups. For the diehard political savant, his gathering is his group. It's his family. It's a mountain he's prepared to kick the bucket on. I've seen individuals become genuinely ill after learning their applicant had lost a political race. The saddest piece of this polarization is the gridlock it makes in governments. All things considered, the government officials think about the parts and they'll put it all out there to add to their camp so they can remain in office. The Holocaust is always a fire starter. It never occurred. It occurred, however the numbers are swelled. It occurred, however, for what reason is it so significant? The Holocaust is about the Jews. The Holocaust is pretty much all the focused on populaces of the Nazis. The Holocaust didn't take care of business. One explanation this theme is so poisonous is sufficient individuals are around who were observers to put forth a solid defense one way, however enough individuals are around who must depend things being what they are data to be liable to impact by deniers. In any case, basically nothing evokes the solid emotions that the Holocaust does, and in the event that one tragically says one couldn't care less in any case, well, Lord have mercy on you. This is for the most part an issue for Americans, and there is a sure measure of legislative issues included. However, even the individuals who live in nations with extremely exacting firearm control, or no weapon control, and little worry about it, make certain to say something regarding this dubious subject. It is, obviously, even more questionable for Americans since it goes to the very center of the country, the Constitution, and the right, or not, to remain battle-ready. We have just had in any event one episode of remark war over this subject. Genius choice. Master life. Against decision. Infant. Hatchling. When does birth start? I have perused more than once that common discussion on fetus removal is troublesome face-to-face and completely inconceivable on the web. The reasons are plain. It's a point that is normally polarizing. It sets men in opposition to ladies, one religion against another, opportunity against subjugation, and for some it is truly an incomprehensibly important issue. The most disruptive aspect of the premature birth banter, be that as it may, is the inclination for the two sides to apply high contrast thinking to a subject with too many dim inquiries to fit into those compartments. The outcome, in actuality, can be insane, distraught fights as far as possible up to center bombings. Online isn't vastly improved, as in any case decent, respectful, normal individuals go from zero to irritated in under a second. Excessively instinctive. Evade no matter what. Wouldn't we be able to all simply get along, isn't generally an alternative. Things are better than in the past in certain occurrences, however in others, not really. Notwithstanding, attempting to discuss it sensibly is about inconceivable. Moderate voices are typically yelled down. Indeed, even in the 21st century, a few people, despite everything, have confidence in the predominance of one race over another, notwithstanding the way that, naturally, race is a fantasy. We have ethnicities, indeed, however race is a counterfeit build put together exclusively with respect to the measure of melanin in an individual's skin and the size and format of the facial bones and musculature. We've made considerable progress, yet far remains, and to examine it sensibly is troublesome. Cries of segregation begin rolling in from all sides, and before anybody knows it, the conversation is in the poop house. Apparently the most talked about man in the entirety of history. His life customarily parts the dating arrangement of the Western world into BC and AD. He is additionally likely the absolute most disruptive individual in all history. He was a decent man and an extraordinary educator, however nothing else. He was God in the tissue. He never existed. Oddly, numerous individuals of all stripes who can soundly and serenely talk about the presence of God lapse into verbally abusing and mudslinging once Jesus is raised. Jesus is another insured firestorm starter. Can't be examined soundly. No chance, no how. To some it's a superbly worthy way of life. To other people, it is utter horror. It is hereditary. It is a decision. It tends to be relieved. When a gay, constantly a gay. Nature or sustain. What's truly upsetting is no center ground is generally accessible. On the off chance that one happens to be a when in doubt refrain from interfering sort of individual, the person is still in some peril of being painted adversely by the opposite side. One thing that makes this specific subject so dangerous is homosexuality is considerably more standard now than it used to be. To a few, that is a positive and looked for after turn of events. For other people, it is an indication that the end of the world is close by. Everybody has a sentiment about the Middle East. It might be about the Palestinian state, it might be about oil, it might be about Israel, however that little zone of land is blood-doused, which is as it should be. Attempting to discuss the Middle East will quite often wind up in a battle in light of the fact that nobody has had the option to think of a success-win answer for the region's issues in a couple thousand years. Any arrangement requires one side or the other to give ground. Thus far, nobody has chosen to. This attitude continues into the supporters of the various positions. Israel is malevolent. The Palestinians are underhanded. The Jews are abhorrent. The Arabs are insidious. All around it goes. Once more, no center ground. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.